Hello, Earl Pugh here with Guitar Practicing 6. Please watch Guitar Practicing 1 through 5. If you haven't already, that will give you a little background. In Guitar Practicing 5, we use the E minor pentatonic scale on the B section of a fiddle tune, on fiddle tune Blackberry Blossom. Today we're going to look at using the E minor pentatonic scale, but we're going to use it on a blues, Boom Boom by John Lee Hooker. Once again, it's always good to go to the source. There's some great videos of John Lee Hooker playing this tune live available, so please go check them out. I'm using an electric guitar today. This will all work fine on an acoustic guitar, so please don't feel like you have to have an electric to get some use out of this. So the interesting thing in music is that major scales and minor scales will share key signatures and notes. So they'll be called relative major and relative minor. They're related by the parent key signature. So the G major scale and the E minor scale use the same notes in the same order. And interestingly enough, the G major pentatonic scale and the E minor pentatonic scale will also use the same notes. So I recommend that you use a metronome. We'll set it at 60. It's a kind of a good place to start. And you should use a basic metronome, one that goes click as opposed to a drum machine. Also, right now we're talking about timing, and so I recommend that you turn any time-based effects off. So turn off the reverb, turn off the delay. Just a straight guitar sound will work great for this. So I recommend that you play the chord before you play the scale, so that you hear the scale in relation to the chord. So we have a G major chord and G major scale. And play the chord again at the end. And I recommend that you play the scale up and then play the scale down. They're easy. The scales are easier to hear on the way up. So this is kind of to help to train your ears as to what you're listening for. So we want to play the scales in both directions. So now the E minor scale. So now the E minor scale, it will have the same notes. Now, the G major pentatonic scale will be the notes 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 from the major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'll play the G again at the top. These are the notes from the song My Girl. If we put a little rhythm to it, you'll hear the song. Now we've got the E minor pentatonic scale. It will have the notes E, G, A, B, D, and then the E at the top. And once again, E, G, A, B, D, E. Now, a student asked me, well, if the major scale has the notes 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, shouldn't the minor pentatonic scale also have the notes 1, 2, 3, 5, 6? And that's a very good question. That would be a pentatonic scale, but it's not the one that we want today. So the one that we're using, once again, it's related to the G major scale. So the G major scale was 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 1. If we gave numbers to the minor pentatonic scale, it would be 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1. So I recommend that you play the scale, the E minor scale, going up and then going down using quarter notes. And then, once again, the metronome is still clicking. We're going to play the E minor scale, but using eighth notes, 2 eighth notes on every note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you should play the E minor scale using 1 eighth note per scale note. 3, 4. There's an eighth note exercise. It's jumping around a little bit, but the minor scale is a little bit harder to hear, so it's a good idea to play these exercises. Just get the minor scale in your vocabulary. 1, 2, 3, 4. You should play it in the next octave too. I didn't write that out for you, but you should figure it out. And you should also play that exercise going down. 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to chop each quarter note into 3 even pieces, so we've got triplets. And we'll play 3 triplets on each scale note. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then there's a triplet exercise. Exercise 2, 2, 3, 4. And you should play it in the next octave too. And then you should play it also descending. 2, 3, 4. And during this time, you should be tapping your foot with the metronome. So your foot is going down the foot is going down on every click of the metronome, and the pick should be going down with every click of the metronome. This means that the triplets were down, up, down, 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 down, up, down. So there end up being 2 downs in a row. That's a little bit awkward, but it's something to work on. Now we'll do 16th notes. So we're going to split each quarter note into 4 even pieces. This is actually easier than the triplets. It seems to be easier to split things into 2 and 4 than into even 3s. So we're going to play the scale in 16th notes, 4 16th notes on each scale tone. 2, 3 E and 4 E and So the 16th notes were down on 1, up on E, down on and, up on down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So that once again we're following that picking rule of we're going down on a number. Now we're going to play the scale in 16th notes straight up and down. 2, 3 E and 4 E and I know that scales are not nearly as much fun as playing songs, and so I apologize for making a wade through all of this, but it's very important. Many musicians can play the pentatonic scales and have some cool licks all worked out there, but you ask them to play just a plain straight minor scale and they fall apart. You know, it's a 7-note scale. It'd be to your advantage to learn it. You don't have to use all the notes all the time, but just to have in your back pocket. Now we're going to look at Boom Boom. Boom Boom is a 12-bar blues in E. It's very straight ahead. It couldn't be a straighter ahead tune. We have 4 measures on the E7 chord. Then we have 2 measures on A7, followed by 2 measures on E7. And then we'll have 2 measures on B7. And then we'll have 2 measures on E7. There's no quick 4s, no 2 5s, nothing fancy, very straight ahead tune. We're going to use only notes from the minor pentatonic scale. So we will use the E, G, A, B, D, E, and we'll play much more in the next octave. E, G, A, B, D, E. The only thing we're going to do is we'll do a slide. We're going to slide from the A to the B, and we'll slide from the B to the A. Now, Boom Boom uses 2 main licks. There's the starting lick. So this would be what I would call the call lick. So we've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So it started with a slide. It started on beat 2. Then we have the response lick. This lick will start on the and of 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now, each lick is going to have several variations. When we're on the E7 chord, that B note is in the chord. So we're starting on a chord tone. 3, 4, 1. And we're ending on a chord tone. Then on the response lick, we're starting on the E on an E chord. So it's a chord tone. 3, 4, 1. And we're ending on the E. So we're starting and ending on a chord tone. When we do the call lick again, and we're on the way to the A chord, we're going to change the last note to be the open A. So we'll start by sliding into the B, which is a chord tone on the E7. 3, 4, 1. So I'm sure that John Lee Hooker would not explain this the same way that I do, but he's clearly very aware of what chord he is on at any time. It's very easy in the pentatonic scale to play some cool licks that really don't reflect the chord changes. So John Lee Hooker is making a real effort to reflect the chord changes. Now, in the A7 chord, there is an E note. So we can play the same response lick. 3, 4, 1. And we end on an E note, which is in the E7 chord. Then we've got the same call lick, or it starts the same, but we're going to a B7 chord. So we're going to end on this A, which is the note on the third string from the B7 chord. 3, 4, 1. Now, you've used the same response lick for the whole song so far. You could easily get away with using the same one again. However, John Lee Hooker's not going to do that. He's going to start on the B from the B7 chord, and he's going to end on the E. So he's starting on a chord tone on the B7, and he's ending on a chord tone on the E7. 3, 4, 1. So if we do the entire song, it will go call, response, call, response, call, response. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 2, 3, 4, 1. So I found it very interesting that I didn't think of John Lee Hooker as someone that I would use to explain the importance of chord tones on blues playing. He wasn't the player I was going to pick first, but it turns out he's a very definite sounding player. There's no mistaking where he is in any song. He knows where he is, and he's reflecting that by using the chord tones. So I urge you to kind of think about chord tones and pentatonic scales. And I'll try to cover a bit of that in the next lesson. So I hope you've enjoyed this lesson on the E minor pentatonic scale and Boom Boom by John Lee Hooker. And have a good week, and I'll see you next week.